one question that comes up a lot is this postpartum depression and anxiety, or is this just normal mom overwhelm that I have to learn how to deal with? And I think it's really important to ask that question. And kind of the criteria that I use hinges on a lot of self-awareness. And I want to figure out, is this normal, typical, standard for me? And how problematic is this? What is the toll that it's taking in my life? So the two questions that I like to ask myself and my clients are, what is going on for me right now? And what is this about? So that we can recognize what's happening for us and what the circumstances are that are leading to the situation. That also helps us know, like, do I need to work on changing my circumstances, or are my coping mechanisms not quite where I want them to be? So for example, earlier today, I came home from a doctor's appointment for Nolan. She's screaming. London starts melting down and throwing a fit because I handed her the wrong yogurt. Maddie's yelling down questions about homeschool and this test that she's in the middle of. Paisley's making a giant mess. I'm on hold. Let me see. I'm on hold with the insurance company and I haven't eaten yet. So I was like, I'm about to freaking lose my mind, right? But there's a lot going on. Like 10 times out of 10, I'm going to feel overwhelmed and overstimulated in a situation like that. So what I need is to take a break, recalibrate, get rid of some of the stressors, and come back down. And I can do that. And then I can go about my day. I can make sure that I have something to eat. I get my questions answered from the insurance company. Like, I can figure out, oh, this is why I got overwhelmed and overstimulated. And now I know what to do about it to bring myself back down. When I was not medicated for my postpartum anxiety, I remember like when Maddie was 2 and I just had Paisley and I'm trying to get my 2-year-old into the car and she's just being stubborn, or she wants to do the buckles on her own and throws a little fit about that. And I would feel like I'm going to freaking lose my mind. Or like I ask the kids to pick up the toy room and they don't do it. And it sends me into that super overwhelm. But that's like pretty typical stuff that's going to happen all the time. And like it wouldn't/shouldn't always totally put me over the edge. And so it was stuff like that that made me realize like, oh, this is kind of a lot. Like, I'm usually a pretty patient person and I have zero fuse for anything. And it took me a really long time to come back down and recalibrate. And like the next thing was going to send me into that like red line overwhelm really quickly. And so that was one of my indicators, is like, I'm spending a lot of time up here and not coming back down very easily and jumping back up really quickly for things that typically for me wouldn't usually make me redline. Like I said, the situation earlier today, 10 times out of 10, that's going to overwhelm me because like all these voices, all these things that need my attention right now, and I hadn't eaten yet. I hadn't taken care of myself, which takes me to my next point. We need to figure out, are there things like what is needed for me to take care of myself, for me to be doing well? Am I getting enough sleep? My mom used to always say when we were growing up, if somebody's not doing well, they either need food, sleep, or love, which I think is so true. So like, have I eaten yet today? Am I hungry? Am I tired? Which yes and yes. Hi, I have a newborn. Do I need love? Do I need a snuggle? Do I need to love myself? Those are 3 great questions to ask yourself to figure out, like, am I taking care of myself? If the answer is no, or we recognize I have needs that I'm not meeting, or hey, there's these things that I could be doing better to take care of myself, then start with those things. Also, start with therapy. Like, having a toolbox to know how to think more effectively or in a way that's more helpful and less stressful, or like to figure out how to internalize and how to think through things in a more effective way is one of the best benefits of therapy and counseling. So then the next question is like, how do I know if I need medication? For me, as you know, I am a therapist. I've done a ton of my own work. And so I know that I am very well armed with coping skills and tools and mechanisms, and I usually employ those really well. When I know that I need medication, it feels like all of the skills and tools that I know feel like they're on the other side of this valley. Like they're on the other side of a cliff, and like I know that they're there, but I can't reach them. I can't access them. I can't use them. I can't implement them. It just feels like there's this disconnect that I can't get to. And so again, like first line of defense is always like, do I need to change things in my life so that I am setting myself up for success? Are there skills and tools and coping mechanisms that I can learn and employ to make this process easier? If both of those things, like you've addressed both of those things and it's still not working, that's when I think medication is hugely helpful. It's kind of like, you know, we don't want to just like start taking diet pills, but still eat McDonald's and drink Dr. Pepper and eat candy all day long and take a diet pill and be like, oh, that'll help me get skinny. Like we need to change the healthy lifestyles. And if that's not enough, then we use medical intervention. So a couple examples, like I run on the anxious side, which means that I get like really overwhelmed and really overstimulated easily. So like I said, like I was noticing myself just like hitting my max really quickly when usually I have a little more capacity to handle stress. The other part of that is with anxiety, it can sometimes pop into OCD, which is commonly misunderstood, but my version of OCD is less about compulsions and more about obsessions. So we all have these like really scary thoughts that come through our mind and we just kind of like push them right back out. Mine will like come back and haunt me. So for example, when I was pregnant, we were driving one time and it was like a perfectly normal line of questioning. Paisley was like asking me how fast I was going and why I wasn't driving faster. And so we were talking about the speed limit and how it's dangerous if you're driving too fast and blah, 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 blah. She asks, if we got in a car accident, would I get hurt? And I said, yes, you would get ouchies and we might need to go to the hospital. And then she asked, would I get so hurt that I'm covered in blood? Which with as you can see, like my OCD brain immediately goes to this horrifying image of my lifeless 4-year-old daughter in my lap, covered in blood. Like I can't shake it. And it haunted me for like 5 more months when I got in the car. Like that is what OCD is. It's this like, oh, every single mom on the planet might have like, oh, that's a scary thought. Let's change the subject. And maybe it like lingers for a couple of minutes, but it's not like so intensely vivid and then just like haunting and horrifying. So it's stuff like that I'm like, yep, time to go back on medication because I know how to kick those thoughts out of my mind. Even right now, like, oh gosh, when I'm thinking about it, I get like really sad about it because anybody's going to get sad thinking about that. But I can distract myself and I can move on and that image can fade back into the background. That is what it looks like in typical healing. Like, well, that was bad. Let's distract from that. When I'm not on medication, my OCD makes it so that image doesn't leave. I can't recalibrate myself or it takes me like 30 to 60 minutes, which sucks to have that image in your mind for so long. Also, I noticed like with my husband, like I was just so grumpy and so fault finding, even though the logical part of my brain knows like I'm the luckiest girl on the planet. My husband is amazing. It would be like he would put his dish on the side of the counter instead of in the sink or instead of rinsing it off and putting it in the dishwasher. And in my mind, I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Or like, it wasn't me. And as much as I knew it wasn't me, and as much as I tried to talk myself out of it, and as much as I recognized like, oh, okay, I need to slow down. I need to like all of the things. I either couldn't do the things that I needed to do because I was too stressed out and I couldn't take a break, or I was doing those things and it still wasn't helping. Does that make sense?